In this episode of the Rockets Chop Shop podcast, we talk about whether a player like Jabari Smith can become a star in today's NBA. We discuss whether KJ Martin should be traded and for what. And lastly, we talk about whether the double big lineup being brought back is a good or a bad thing for the Rockets. Tap in and enjoy the show. The Chop Shop store is now open. Stop by the Chop Shop merch store and browse through our catalog of great products that show support for the Houston Rockets and for this channel. If you're a supporter and liker of the videos that we produce, stop over by the store and review some of these great designs and rep your city, rep your team, and rep the Chop Shop. That's the Chop Shop merch store. The link is going to be in the description of this video. Stop by there. The prices are low, the content is great, and the quality is A1. Keep rocking with the Chop Shop. Stop by the merch store. Grab you something today. Yo. Welcome to another episode of the Rockets Chop Shop podcast. My name is F-Tank58. I'm going to be point guarding this with my main man, Space Ghost. What's good with you, brother?
What's good, Frank the Tank? You know, same old. About to chop it up on some Rockets basketball like always.
Yes, sir. We got a special holiday episode for y'all that should be dropping right on Thanksgiving morning. So y'all can rock out with this as you enjoy the time with your family. Shout out from the Chop Shop, and y'all enjoy the Thanksgiving day with all your family members, enjoying the time and just spending time with them. But we're going to get straight to this basketball thing right now. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about on this podcast is what we're seeing from Jabari Smith Jr. and a lot of the concern from the fan base and people judging him based on not only what he is performing like, but also what his peers are performing like. So me and Space wanted to kind of talk about, for a player like Jabari Smith, which he's basically a power forward, what is his path to stardom? And I'm going to start off just reading his stats right now for the 22-23 season. Right now, Jabari's averaging 10 points, 6.9 rebounds, 0.8 assists, shooting 33% from the field, 30% from three, and 83% from the free throw line, with an EFG is 41.7%. Now, Space, you look at that, and that doesn't look like anything that you would see from a player that is supposed to be great or a player that's supposed to be doing anything or has a long future. But I'm here to pose the argument that not only is he doing good for his age and his position, that I think that he is on path to be, somebody that could still be one of the great forwards in this league. And to me, the person I'm going to start with, and we'll chop it up with different people, but we'll start off with one of my favorite players in pretty much in the NBA history. He's one of my top favorite players. It's not a Rocket. It's Kevin Garnett. And, for Jabari, he is not Kevin Garnett. And, this comparison is not to say that it's like a one-to-one or like they got everything the same. But what I'm comparing is a similar body size. Obviously, KG was a more polished basketball player, all around handles, things like that. But when it came down to the nitty gritty, at the end of the day, he got his money in the middies and in the post. And all them handles and stuff, he didn't need all that, because at the end of the day, when it was time to collect them checks, it was jab step, pull up, turn around, pull up, 1-2 dribble, pull up, right shoulder, turn around, left shoulder, turn around, pull up. And that was how he won that championship over there in Boston. So for Jabari, that's what I'm seeing, is like people always want to see the flashy and the dribbling and the, he initiating at the top of the key. But I think my vision of him is something along the lines of some of those power forwards that we've seen in the past. But I'm curious to see what you think. Like, where do you think Jabari can get to with his ceiling, and what kind of player do you see him becoming if he's going to be a star?
Can I take like a mixture of KG and Dirk, because I think his shooting can translate more on Dirk upside, more than KG. KG really wasn't ever known as a shooter, but he could get a little streaky, hit a couple of 3-pointers. He did have a little range where he just wasn't Shaq or nobody like that. Well, you didn't have to worry about him shooting threes, but I think Jabari projects to be a way better consistent 3-point shot taker, and he can move, like you said, in the elbow, in the mid post, the high post game, and he's a legit 7 foot basically now, to where he can just turn around like you say and just shoot over. So I think those skills eventually is gonna come. I think the thing about Jabari is who is gonna be around him. I think for to be a star, I don't know if he'll ever reach a superstar level because those guys just come, few far in between. You only got maybe 5 to 8 legit superstars in the league at a time. I don't know if he'll ever be that, but I could see him being more of the upper echelon 3 and D type prototype type guys to where he is a key cog to his team, but I don't know if he'll ever be the star of said team, no matter if it's here or later on in his career. Maybe if he get more of a Giannis body type, but still Giannis still got a little bit of handle. Like I wouldn't say Giannis can just flat out pound the rock and dribble, but he got enough to make it work to where he want to do what he want to do and us driving. So if Jabari can flourish as more of a self-creator, I think that'll help him a long way to being a star. But as is, he's so codependent on his guards. It's almost like what type of guard you're going to pair him with to get the full maximum, ability out of him. So I think it's almost like a double-edged sword. Like I don't think he's like a legit floor raiser to where you could just put him on any team and he's going to be able to elevate them to a certain stature. I think it's more of how you're going to construct a roster around him that, elevates his talent to put him into a superstar position.
Yeah, and that is a great point, and I think you kind of hit on one of the important things is the players that are around these guys because as we know, a power forward is not a position that can solely just dominate a team by themselves. And when you're thinking of some of the great power forwards like a Kevin Garnett, obviously, even when he was, he had Stephon Marbury when he played, he had Sam Cassell over there on the Timberwolves. Then when he got to Boston, he had Rajon Rondo to the point that when he was really at his peak, him and Rondo were one of the most devastating pick and roll combo in the NBA at that time because of KG's pick and pop potential. And he made his buckets off of the long twos, which a lot of people see as a bad shot. But that shot won the Celtics that chip. Now, to me, I think the way I'm looking at it, I think Jabari, it depends on what you call a star. Because was Kevin Garnett a star like maybe like Kobe? No. But like you said, he was an impactful player. If you look at his resume, he was, rebound champion 4 times, 9 times All NBA. He was All Rookie, 12-time defensive team. Defensive Player of the Year, MVP. I don't know if Jabari's ever going to be an MVP type of player, but one thing that I've noticed from KG, now you go look at his rookie stats. He came into the league 19 years old, like Jabari did, and you look at his rookie stats, he played 28 minutes per game, and he was a 49% from the field, 28% from three. He wasn't really taking threes back then with a 49% EFG. Only averaged 10 points, 6 rebounds, and he had 6 rebounds and only 1.8 assists. So 10.6 rebounds, 1.8 assists. You look at that, and that doesn't tell you that this dude is going to be all NBA, all pro type of player going forward. And I'm sure if there was Twitter around, you look at some of his games. Like I pulled up his the first because Jabari's played about 16 games. You look at Kevin Garnett, some of his first games, he wasn't really doing anything. And you pointed out Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk was also young when he came into the NBA. He was 20 years old, and his first season, I mean, this dude shot 40% from the field and 20% from three, bro. 2-0 from three. Only averaged 8 points and 3 rebounds. So I don't know, like even if Jabari reaches a point where his shot gets good and his he's able to like rebound better. To me, there's still a piece of his game that he needs to improve on to even get anywhere. It's not his dribbling to me; it's his passing. So, what have you seen Like, have you seen any indication from him to show that he actually has a chance to be that? Because I've seen him try to make some passes. I don't know if you've seen anything from him that would say like he has the potential to even get there, to be able to like pass out of double teams or have the skill set.
Honestly, I haven't seen it so far, but that don't mean can't he can't, you know what I mean? Like maybe I would say he is tall enough to where when those, a double do come, he could probably see over most of the defenders that they're gonna bring at him. So is he gonna be able to process the game quick enough to understand when they are gonna try to take him completely out the game to where I'm not gonna shoot up bad shots that I usually take against like 101s and try to, because he's gonna get used to shooting over the top of people. But shooting over the top of one guy is totally different between shooting over the top of two guys. So how quick is he gonna pick that up to where first he's gotta show a consistency that he will hit that shot. That's one of his go-to moves to where if you don't take this away from me, I'm gonna kill you with it all day. Like every kind of superstar type player has that one thing in their bag to where if you just let me do this, I'm gonna kill you with it. And if he can get to that level of he's gonna kill you if you don't double him, then I think that in itself will help the team. But like you saying, like, will he be able to facilitate out of that gravity that he's gonna generate from those shots? So I haven't seen it yet. I'm not gonna lie, but he's so raw and like he's a rookie, like what 13 games, 15 games in. So I'm not gonna say he can't, because that'll be just putting a cap on somebody, because some of these guys, they just look like you said, like, nah, these guys ain't gonna never be what we thought they would be, and then they turn out to be even better. So I'm not gonna put him in a box and say he can't, but that's still yet to be seen. And I'm hoping that he will be able to get there for sure, because we seen how Dirk, when he's working in that low post, what type of mismatches he created. Even for the Miami Heat, that was a stacked team. Dirk really killed them. So if he could be that type of impactful guy, man, we got us something.
I think that's facts. And even with the Dirk thing, you hit it on the head with the unguardable move. And I know when I had made the video about the Warriors game, that's what I was saying is like his height and his shot release. If he can get a shot like KD got, like Dirk has, that it don't matter that if he's a bad athlete, he can't dribble. You hell, LaMarcus Aldridge, just a shot that you can't block, you can't do nothing about it, to the point that you have to go stop him from even getting the shot off. Then you add on the passing, then I think that he can be the second best player on the championship team, or somebody that's co-starring with a perimeter player on the team. Because all these guys that we talk about, whether it's Dirk, Tim Duncan, KG, all these forwards of this kind of past era, they had guards. Obviously, Dirk had a Steve Nash, and even though he didn't have him when he was in his like in the prime, but he had Steve Nash to kind of get him going. KG had different guards, like I pointed out. Ultimately, Rondo's the one he won the championship with, and obviously Timmy had Parker and Ginobili playmaking for him. And I think for Jabari, one of the key things for these type of players is that it is a two-man aspect to their games as well. And to me, for the Rockets, that's one of the things that I'm disappointed in, that it seems like they haven't prioritized his game as a overall prospect rather than him fitting on within the system of what they're trying to do in 5 out. Because, and to me, they haven't done that for Jalen either. It's like, and this goes back to some of the things we've talked about in other videos, is like we have a system and the players have to fit the system. Like you got to get in where you fit in, rather than saying we're developing players. So let's see what are the things that this player projects to be, and let's try to cultivate that so we can get the best out of them. Because I don't think, some people say like, well, they have freedom. I think the only people that have freedom in our offense is really the ball handlers. Everybody else, you just kind of stand and watch. So I'm hoping that we can get hope somebody for Jabari. I keep saying it, like he needs somebody to like grow that game for him so he can get to his spots, or somebody to get him to his spots, get him the ball when he called for it. I don't care if he missed every shot. We just gotta be able to like feed him in there. And I don't know if it's gonna be with this team or another team, but I'm hoping that they're able to do that for him.
Yeah, me too. Because even people forget KG did have Stephon Marbury for a nice little bit of his career
Hmm.
when he was over there at the Timberwolves. So it's so hard, like you said, for a four, like even Tim Duncan, I think is considered the best power forward ever. He needed guards like Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and guys like that really cater, like was really able to run the offense and find him in his niche, like little niches that he'll slip in and be in. Because Tim Duncan off glass, he had that. Like this is what Jabari need. If he have to go off glass and bank something like Tim Duncan, I never seen anything like Tim Duncan as far as banking the shots off. If he can get that, and it was always money because that board is not gonna move. That backboard is not moving, And if Jabari can get that, that's what made Tim Duncan, like you said, 21-10 his rookie year.
Rookie year, yep.
Because he came out with that turnaround bank shot, and it was unstoppable. And that's what really opened up David Robinson to really have
Yep.
his way down low. Now we don't have that big man or even running even a similar system, but you can see the effects of having that guy in the high post that'll just draw the big man just a little bit out further for guards to operate and Tony Parker's to slew in and Ginobili can slash in and do what they do. So if he can even get a semblance of what Tim Duncan and Dirk Nowitzki had, bro, I'll be so ecstatic because his
You're gonna make
defense
me
is gonna
shed a
be there.
tear, bro.
Because his
You're
defense
gonna
is
make me shed a
already
tear.
almost pretty much better than Dirk, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
The
bro,
thing that is making me like, because you describing and you talking about Tony Parker, we talking about Popovich, and we've been talking about the pop tree on the live streams, the pop tree. So this is the root of the tree, and what you described is something that I've been advocating for. Obviously, I love a lot of motions, and I love offenses, basketball offenses that really predicate on ball movement and player movement. And for me, like the post, you got a Shangoon there in the post. Can you imagine like Shangoon, even with his limitations, guys like that in the Popovich type system, where they're able to operate around the cutting, the spacing, and then you could have another big there or a forward like Jabari there to play off of that and run that little triangle action with the guard, the forward, and the post, and kind of work that. So it's, to me, it all comes back to the system thing. And I honestly, it's kind of a wrinkle in this and trying to assess how Jabari's doing is that we have to consider that the system he's working in is one that, even though it is a modern system, it's not the best system out in the NBA. But I still think that even this season, he'll still make strides. And I think that probably by the end of the year, we'll start to see. But Tim Duncan came in at 21 years old. Dirk came in at 20. KG came in at 19. The only person that didn't struggle was Tim Duncan. He came in polished. That's why they call him the big fundamental. And I think that Jabari 2 years from now, he'll be a pretty fundamental player. That shot going to be there. Some of these things we're talking about are going to be there. So I think we can be patient with him, and maybe he adjusts to Silas's system, or they just get a different coach. But yeah, I think he's going to be all right.
one thing, Frank, how much uh weight do you think Jabari needs to put on before he can really work that mid to high post game? Because you got to bump a guy 2 to 3 times to get him off you and
Hmm.
create that space. How much weight do you feel like he has to at least put on of muscle?
He probably got to get to about 230, 235, because I think he's like almost what 200. He's pretty light right now, but he's a kid. Like I said, I looked at his dad when he played. If that's an indication of his like metabolism and his like frame, he's gonna be a big dude, and he taller than his dad. So I think they said the thing in the preseason that they were going for the Giannis body. That's what Jabari want to get. I think he got the work ethic to do it. I think he got the mind and the tenacity to go for it. He's just weak. He a kid, man. He trying to fight these grown men, and he ain't lifted enough weights yet to even do any of the stuff he trying to do. Once that balance and that strength is there, where he can pop and back you down, and you move back, create that space. That's the equivalent to him of a step back. Bah, hit him with the little back. That's the same as a guard doing a step back. Give him a little shimmy. Give him a little elbow. That's the same as doing a jab step. See, that the way I look at the game, it's all the same stuff. You're trying to create space to get your shot off. Some people might do it by dribbling between the legs and behind the back. In the post, you get it by getting dirty. You know, hit, get a little dirty, hit a little bit. I think, like you said, he just got to get stronger, and it's gonna come. He right now he weak. He be getting punked by a bunch of dudes, but I don't think that's gonna last because I could tell that he got that mentality. But we're gonna pivot on along to our next topic to discuss from one of our favorite players to another one of our favorite players. There have been trade rumors about yours truly, KJ Martin, the one of the Chop Shop's favorite players to talk about. We've been hyping KJ up since we started this channel. We will pride ourselves in being people that understand good basketball, and this kid has been playing good basketball pretty much his entire tenure with the Houston Rockets. KJ right now is having career highs in scoring, in rebounding, and he is career high in true shooting and EFG. The question is, Space, what world or what player are you willing to part ways with for KJ, or what caliber of player? Because it started off with second round picks. Then now people are getting to see his star shine and see what kind of talent he is. Now you're hearing players like Cam Johnson. You've had they've been talking about 3-team trades with just different players. So what caliber of player, even Kaminga has come up in some random thoughts. What caliber of player do you think KJ is worth, and what value do you see a guy like him bringing to a team?
Right now, I would say he at least worth a mid to late first round. Now, if they don't make a deal soon, he's gonna be damn near top 10, you know what I'm saying, or somewhere around there, man. Because I don't know, man, he just looked like he just have all the qualities of a glue guy. Now, just realistically, I don't want to trade him. I don't think the Rockets should trade him. I think when we time to compete, he'll be a very valuable asset, and we see uh him doing whatever regimen he having in the off season, because you remember quite clearly he wasn't there with them this offseason. So he's getting his workout in somewhere, and wherever he's going is working. Because out of everybody since we started this rebuild, I would say he's been the most improved player from the day one he stepped on the court till now. Like, I can't really say who else improved more. Are there better players on this team? Yes, but have they improved and shown the improvement from and the growth from year one to year three like KJ? I can't really say that. I say he really pretty much equaled to was better than Tate last year. And I think this year he just lapped him. I think he's clearly better than Tate in my eyes. And for the caliber of guy, I don't Grayson Allen is not the type of guy I would trade KJ Martin for. You know what I'm saying? Even Jay Crowder, um, that's maybe a discussion to be had, but I personally probably wouldn't take Jay Crowder for KJ Martin. I think people really forget that this dude is just 21 years old. If he went to college, he'll be a senior in college right now. You know, this guy really have a lot of more potential and growth to him. Like, why would you want to get rid of a a watermelon halfway done of his ripeness. Let this guy finish out and be fruitful. And it seems like he's up to staying here with us. It's not like he's making any waves no more. He even said he's up to signing a new contract. So if somebody want to come and get KJ Martin from me, if I was the GM, they have to at least come up off a first round pick and maybe a lower tier like bench role type guy, because I feel like he's a starter on our squad for real, and he's a maybe a fifth to sixth type player on any other squad. So he is a valuable key. The way he shoot, like his shooting just became so good to where it put him in almost in another tier of people, players besides just a Grayson Allen and a Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder can shoot, but he don't give you that other rim protection or rebounding or flashy highlight electric dunks. He don't bring that to the table, So it's got to be somebody more of a like Cam Johnson, I would guess, because he is serviceable. He do play defense. It's some qualities that he has than other than KJ Martin had, but I don't know, man. I guess I'm just a KJ Martin diehard to where it's gonna take a nice little package for me to get rid of him.
Yeah, you already know that I'm with you 100%. I mean, you got to think about, like you said, the progression being a second round pick coming in here, not even being expected to contribute to the team, and then forcing your way to playing because he wasn't supposed to play. They kind of just took a swing on him as a athletic guy out of IMG Academy. The next season comes in, competes to the point where he's compelling the staff to look at him for a starting spot over Jayshawn Tate, who they're really high on. Comes in after this season, didn't work out with the team, went and trained in Cali with Rico Hines. And we were able to watch him. We watched just their playing, but you don't know what he was doing outside of that with lifting weights and all the other individual drills. But you could see him practicing his ball handling, shooting, even bringing the ball up the court. Some of the things that people criticize him for, improved in all that, came into the season, and has been one of, like you pointed out, our most consistent players game in and game out. He plays great defense. He is a winner because if you look at it, according to Cleaning the Glass, he is a plus 1.8 differential. That means when he's on the court, the Rockets are winning by 1.8 points per possession just by him being on the court. We are the worst team in the NBA, and our team's net rating is terrible. But when he's on the court, in the 890 possessions, we're winning. And he might have the highest net differential on the team. So when we're talking about players that impact winning, he is literally the definition of it. A guy doesn't complain about shots. There are games where he'll get 2 shots. There are games where he'll get 8 shots, or he'll get 10. Games he'll score 5 points, or he'll score 25 points. Just the same energy. He cuts. He runs in transition. He's a weak side rim protector. Even though he's undersized, he has elite athleticism, one of the best jumpers in the NBA. If the Rockets traded him for anything less than a positive asset, they fumbled the bag. Because you've pointed out, once again, he's 21 years old. This dude is a baby. Him and Tari are almost the same age, if we want to put it in perspective. So we have to me, like when you start seeing guys like this flash out, you got to value them a little bit differently, especially when all the metrics are pointing at it. So, Grayson Allen, it's not worth KJ Martin. Even the Kaminga thing. Now, people, this might be a hot take. I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting one with Kaminga. He is a high level draft pick. He's young, but KJ is young as well. He's only about a year and a half older than Kaminga, and he is way better than Jonathan Kaminga right now. I know the upside is there, but upside is just upside till it's upside. You know what I mean? Upside don't pay the bills. You feel me? Like potential don't pay the bills, and I'm seeing he's trending in the right direction. So I'm not sure, man. That's an interesting question. I mean, the Cam Johnson, when we talked about this, so you said it's a discussion. What are the things that, if we look at Cam, like a player like Cam Johnson on the Phoenix Suns, what are some things that you would value that he would do over Kenyon Martin Jr.?
I mean, the only thing I can really think of is he may be a better 3-point shooter, and he can maybe handle the ball a little better. But we got to look at the surrounding team uh around Cam John. I mean, he's playing with guys like Devin Booker and CP3 and guys that's been there and done that. Like, is a clearly defined role for him over there. Over here, I don't know exactly. We don't have nobody that's really. We complaining about Jabari getting open 3-point shots and stuff. And I think if Cam Johnson is not hitting 3-pointers, it's almost like it's not worth it. Like, what else is he gonna do besides hit 3-pointers? Yeah, he's another bigger body to where he could get in somebody's way and play a little defense. But is it really worth swapping everything? The glue guy, basically, in KJ. He's the ultimate glue guy. He fits in every one of your lineups. I don't know if Cam Johnson will fit in every one of our lineups, especially with lineups like with Eric Gordon and Garrison Mathews and guys like that. If we're running guys like that out, I don't see what much of a positive asset he'll become besides redundancy. He'll be redundant to another like couple of players we got. He's a better he's a better Garrison Mathews. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a Garrison Mathews role, but he actually is a better role player and a better player at that role than Garrison Mathews. So I just really don't see exactly how much upside he'll bring now. Now the other guy you got here, John Collins. Now I might end up thinking about dealing him for John Collins, because John Collins he's not gonna lack for shooting. He's a little streaky, but he get in his slumps. But when you playing with Trae Young, you gotta actually, you know, uh, get the ball when you can get the ball, because they got a lot of mouths over there in Atlanta too, to where it's not like he's gonna be fed a steady diet of something. But we seen he can play defense too. I mean, he had a hell of a defensive game against us not too long ago in the first opening season, and I think he'll be almost perfect for KPJ, probably more than Jalen. I think Jalen can really use a guy like John Collins, but is he gonna mesh well with Jalen and KPJ, because they already have a chemistry issue as it is. So KJ Martin is just the ultimate glue guy, and you'll give him up for a guy that you just a specialty type guy, that you only can play in certain situations. And I don't think we are in the position to even think about those certain situations to when guys like Cam Johnson really matter. Right now, we need a guy like KJ.
That's fact. And the thing you pointed out with the team structure on Phoenix is a big deal because basically I'm looking at all their lineups with Cam Johnson have Chris Paul on there. Like, they do not play him without Chris Paul, because if you guys are complaining about, like you said, our third overall pick, they're gonna make Cam Johnson turn into PJ Tucker, where he's gonna be standing there waiting to see whether Dacian Nix is gonna pass him the ball when he's open on the three. So that's something to consider. But even in a vacuum, if we're thinking about like in the future when we're competing, that's still yet to be seen. He's Cam has been good in the playoffs, and he's played in high leverage moments, and he's had mixed bags. He had bad games and good games. To me, I'm curious to see what KJ would look like on a team with Chris Paul, with his skill set, him being a winning type of player on the worst team. How would he look on one of the best teams where his value is just going to exponentially just make them that much better? The John Collins thing, that's interesting, because I think John would be a great fit here. Honestly, I mean, he can shoot, he can roll. His defense, he can have some rim protection. I definitely would make that move for John Collins, because I think he's a different tier of player than KJ. He's actually like a starter that's like could contribute, and he's fairly young. Only downside with John is his contract. He's like 4 years, like 100 some million, but it's not terrible. It's almost like 5 million more than Eric Gordon. So, to me, that's not that bad. But I think ultimately the Rockets need to do their due diligence. They need to explore trading other guys like Eric Gordon and Tate before they even look at KJ. But if KJ's value is that high, then they need to get good value in return, or they would have fumbled the bag. But with that said, we're gonna get to our last topic of this podcast, which is double big. So Coach Silas dropped some little crumbs about potentially having a double big lineup featuring Bruno Fernando and Usman Garuba, and maybe even possibly Sengun. We've seen the double big in the past space, and let's just say that it was some pretty nasty stuff. Now these are different cats, no Christian Wood, no Daniel Tice, but it's still the same coach and the same system. What do you think, bro? Do you think a double big lineup featuring any combination of our bigs is going to be effective in helping the Rockets like structure their offense and play good defense?
Yeah, I think as far as Bruno and Garuba goes together, I don't know about that one. Like, I really don't know. I know Garuba has been shooting pretty decent from the 3-point line, where I guess he can be a stretch four, but I'm not seeing Garuba as a stretch four, any type of four. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's more fool's gold of his 3-point shooting. I think it's gonna end up ticking down to where it's more of a suitable level to where we thought that Garuba would be. And we seen, I think any one of those pairings would have to be with Sengun, because Sengun actually can facilitate, uh, and he's not a totally liability on offense. Sengun don't need nobody to really set nothing up for him. He's the setup guy, so he can work with 4 other guys. But I'm not sure that Bruno and Garuba just fit, But I would give them one thing about all our centers: we all seen them have flashes of passing the ball pretty good. Like, so if Garuba and uh Bruno can actually coexist, it's gonna have to be more of some type of uh they one of them pick the other one moving with the ball. The other one moving off ball to come and set another pick for somebody else. Almost, you know what I'm saying? Maybe the double screening a work, because they're both big bodies and they both set hard screens. But I can say the same thing about Sengun with either one of them too. Sengun sets pretty good screens too. So in the end all, I just think it's going to be a big experiment, because these are two different guys. We don't have a Christian Wood that's just going to suck up the ball on offense and shoot his shots. And then we don't have a Christian Wood that's so lackadaisical on defense to where it's going to be a bad pairing. So I think both of them, as far as Usman and Sengun, Usman can really cover a lot of Sengun's weaknesses defensively on the help side. So if Sengun giving something up, Garuba is a hell of a rotator to the ball and actually a good rim protector. I can see that pairing work before I can see a Usman Garuba and a Bruno type pairing work.
Now, I agree with everything you said, and I'm gonna even with the double screens, you could have like we watch Golden State, they do it with Draymond and Kevon Looney. But once again, bro, you're gonna make me shed a tear because it goes back to systems. Like the way I envision it, if you're gonna have two non-shooters, ideally one of them has to be an elite passer, and one of them has to be able to facilitate outside of just pick and roll. And like you pointed out, Bruno and Garuba are great passers. I think he's flashed some really good touch and passing, and Garuba has shown he's great on the move and passing, but none of them are Alperen Sengun. To me, the double big lineup only makes sense in my mind if you do it with Sengun and one of these other guys. And ideally, I think with Garuba's ability to shoot 3-point, even though it's only seven for 8, that's 7 more threes than Bruno hit. So when you run those double staggers, usually what happens is one person's going to roll, one person's going to pop out, or you're going to have nasty spacing. So if they're running those sets, whether they're running horns or like you said double screens, one of those guys has to pop out, and if it's going to be Garuba, then you can have Sengun roll, get into the short roll, or even roll into a post up or roll to the rim for a layup or a dunk and make it work. if it's going to be with Bruno, Bruno has to be able to screen on the perimeter while Sengun posts up. I don't think I've seen one time this whole season where Shangun's in a post and one of somebody else sets a screen while he's posting up to free up a shooter like the Warriors do when Draymond is in the post and Looney will give the entry pass. Then you'll see Steph run off of Looney's butt coming around. And basically they just, yeah, it's a spam play. Like it's really hard to stop. Even though they can't shoot, the two guys can't shoot. If you got two people that could shoot, you could play some have some spacing, and our offense just doesn't do that for me. I'm curious to see what it's going to look like because I think that some teams do run double bigs, like Cleveland runs double bigs with Mobley and Allen. Theirs works because they run a different system than we do. They do run a lot of pick and rolls and things like that, but their guards are dynamic where they can make the pass. They know how to read the full court, and they're both pretty good stars with Mitchell and I'm forgetting his name right now, but Darius Garland. Yeah, so I don't know if our guards are able to use them correctly. I think the double big lineup last year was also trash because Jayshawn Tate was the third big, so it was really like triple big lineup. If they're going to run the double big lineup, to me, they need somebody that's really going to space it out. You would ideally want a Garrison Mathews type of guy. Maybe Jabari can be a 3. So you'll have Jabari at the 3, Garuba at the 4, and either Sengun or Bruno at the 5. Then it kind of gets interesting, but we'll see, man. I don't know if I trust them to be able to pull it off, but it is something interesting. Do you think it has anything to do with Cosalis trying to find a reason to play Bruno, and he's just gonna force it to happen, even though if he got to play 3 bigs, he gonna get his guy on the court to get KPJ's pick and rolls? Because I'm suspecting that's really what's happening.
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to set up for Bruno to come back and possibly be starting again. But I think this was really because we got to think this is going to have a side effect of the rest of the roster. We've been cool without Bruno. And then we seen the Goon Squad emerge from this lineup with Garuba, in the second unit running with them boys. Who's going to be in that second unit center now? So if it changes and they have Sengun in that role, is that really the Goon Squad? Like, how would that affect everything else? Because that's been our best lineup this whole season. So I'm hoping Silas sees that and says it'll be a better combination, like you said, to put Bruno and Sengun together. If he's gonna do that, and just leave Garuba coming off the bench with the Goon Squad, and I just think the double big lineup can work with certain types of bigs, like because all bigs is not created equal. So, like you said, one big have to be creative and do something almost totally different than the other big, so they won't have to be operating in the same space trying to do the same thing. And that's just a clear overlap. Now, one thing that could be inspiring is looking at Utah, like you saying, like Utah have a lot of bigs, but they're more of wing bigs. They more of self-creating bigs to where marketing and them guys, like, they really don't need nobody to set them up. They can go and set up and run a play themselves. So it's not the same. Like I said, all bigs ain't created equal. So I'm just thinking it's got to be Sengun with one of those other guys, because those other two guys, I just don't see them really being real cohesive on the court, and I'm hoping that's what Silas is getting at. But just like I know Silas, he's going to march out Bruno and Garuba at the same time before he marches out Sengun and one of those other guys. I just know that's how it's going to happen.
That's facts. And to your point, I'm thinking about all the double bigs lineups that I could come off the top. Even in Cleveland with Allen and Mobley, Mobley is like he can create his own shot. He ain't efficient all the time, but Mobley still he's a kid. He's growing, but he got a little bag where he can put a ball on the ground. He got a little post up hook, whatever. I'm thinking of Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard from the championship year with the Lakers. AD is one of the most dynamic big men in the NBA. He can create his own shot. Then you got the other big that's just a rim runner, lob threat. I'm thinking of, the Lob City Clippers with DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin could create his own shot, do a little bit more with the ball pass, and then DeAndre was just a rim running big. So, like, to your point, bro, you almost have to have one of them be a self creator. And to me, the only big on our roster that can do that is Sengun. So, because if you have two rim runner types, that's just ugly spacing. Ugly spacing. And, they tried it, like you said, with Wood, who is ideally a self creator, but he's not a big. Wood was a wing masquerading as a big, and they had him on these power forwards and centers. He was getting killed on defense, so that lineup was just terrible. So, yeah, that'll be something to watch for. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and shut this podcast down. Want to thank you guys for listening to us. If you guys don't know, you could join the Chop Shop membership in the description of this video or this podcast. If you're interested in joining, just click below. Also visit our merch store for all the great products. We make quality videos and quality merchandise for you guys, and just keep rocking with us here at the Chop Shop, and we're gonna keep dropping this heat on a daily basis.